The office lights dimmed late in the evening, but YN was still at her desk, flipping through files. Across the glass wall, she could see Taehyung on the phone, his brows furrowed, voice soft but heavy. She had already guessed who it was. When he hung up, she leaned against his doorframe. Let me guess, Jungkook again. Taehyung sighed, loosening his tie. He's struggling. YN. It's not easy for him to find a job at his level. Yuri is doing her best with the kids, but doing her best. In's eyes sharpened. All I hear is Tae, send money. Tae, pay the bills. Tae, cover the rent. That's not best. That's leeching. Taehyung pressed his lips together. Family cares for family. That's what we do. Family doesn't chain you like this. YN's tone softened, but her frustration was clear. Look at you. You worked 12 hours today, and you're still worrying about their expenses. Taehyung looked down at his hands. They depend on me. YN walked in, closing the door behind her. And what about us, Tae? When do we get to depend on you? Or do I have to share my husband with your parents, siblings, and Jungwoo's entire household? He stayed quiet, guilt written all over his face. In's chest tightened. She thought of her own parents, her father living peacefully after retiring as a government employee, her mother content with her pension. They never once asked In for a single rupee. My parents raised me to stand on my own 2 feet, yours. They're draining the life out of you and calling it love. Taehyung finally looked up, conflicted. Don't say that. They're still my family. In's jaw clenched, but she didn't push further. She just whispered, almost to herself, no, Tae. They're your chains. The long dining table was filled with steaming dishes, but the atmosphere was heavy. YN sat beside Taehyung, gently helping their 4-year-old son Taewoo with rice, while across the table Minji and Taehyung exchanged playful smiles. Appa, Minji's sweet sing-song voice cut through. Can you transfer me some money? I saw this handbag. You know, the limited edition one. You're the best, Appa, right? She batted her lash, pretending innocence. Before Tae could answer, Taehyung chimed in. And me too. Hyung, my friends are planning a trip. I don't want to look broke. Come on, you're the only one who understands me. Tae's parents exchanged a look, and his mother dabbed her eyes with the corner of her scarf. We never thought raising children would mean living with empty hands in old age. Your father's medicines, the house bills. All of it falls on you, son. Taehyung immediately sat straighter, his voice calm but firm. Of course, Yama, don't worry. I'll manage it all. YN's spoon clinked against the plate. She finally raised her eyes, voice cool. It's funny. Everyone here has a mouth to demand, but no hands to work. The table went quiet for a moment. Minji scoffed. How? You're so rude, sister-in-law. We're just family asking for a little help. A little help. YN's tone sharpened. Jungwoo's rent every month, Minji's luxuries, Jiho's endless hobbies, and parents' crocodile tears. That's not help. That's a habit. YN, Tae whispered beside her, placing a hand on her arm, trying to calm her down. But before YN could answer, little Taewoo's innocent voice piped up. Appa, can I get that toy car we saw yesterday? Immediately, Tae's father frowned. Taewoo Dasha, you don't need such useless things. Don't trouble your father with more expenses. YN's eyes turned sharp, protective. She wrapped an arm around her son. He asked his father, not you. And if his father works so hard for everyone else, he can buy his own son a simple toy. Taehyung's face flushed in embarrassment, torn between YN's fiery defense and his family's accusing stares. His mother sniffled loudly. See, ever since you married her, Taehyung, this house has lost its peace. YN leaned back in her chair, lips curving into a cold smile. No, Iamoni, this house never had peace. It only had a money machine you all worship, and I married the man, not the machine. The silence that followed was deafening. Tae's hand tightened around hers under the table. his silent plea begging her to stop. But YN didn't look away. She had said what everyone needed to hear. The bedroom door shut softly behind them, but the tension was sharp as glass. Taehyung loosened his tie, shoulders slumping. YN, he began, his voice low, almost pleading. You can't talk to them like that. They're my parents, my siblings. They depend on me. YN folded her arms, staring at him. Depend. Tae, Minji is 24, not 12. Jihoo is 22, not a child. They don't depend on you. They use you. Taehyung turned, frustration flashing in his eyes. They're still young. They'll figure things out eventually. Until then. Until then what? YN cut in sharply. You keep paying Minji's shopping bills while she plays princess. You fund Jihoo's parties while he refuses to lift a finger. You even cover Jungwoo's rent while he plays family man with 2 kids. Tae, that's not responsibility. That's ridiculous. Taehyung's jaw clenched. Family is family. I can't abandon them. Until then what? YN cut in sharply. You keep paying Minji's shopping bills while she plays princess. You fund Jihoo's parties while he refuses to lift a finger. You even cover Jungwoo's rent while he plays family man with 2 kids. Tae, that's not responsibility. That's ridiculous. Taehyung's jaw clenched. Family is family. I can't abandon them. They raised you, Tae. They didn't buy you. YN's voice trembled now, emotion breaking through her anger. My parents have pensions. They never asked me for a single rupee. You know why? Because they believe children should live their own life, not feed their parents and siblings like an ATM. Taehyung ran a hand through his hair, torn. It's not that simple. YN touched his arm, forcing him to meet her eyes. It is that simple. You're killing yourself trying to please everyone. And the cruel part, they don't even see it. They just want more. For a moment, silence fell. Taehyung's gaze softened as he looked at her, his wife, the only person brave enough to say what he refused to admit. But still, his voice was quiet. I just can't let them down. YN's heart ached, but her reply was steady. And if you keep going like this, Tae, you'll end up letting us down instead. The sunlight filtered into the living room where YN sat with her laptop, answering emails before leaving for work. Mrs. Kim shuffled in with a heavy sigh, clutching her shawl like the weight of the world sat on her shoulders. YN, she began in her practiced, pitiful tone. Don't you think it's time you left that company job? A daughter-in-law should focus on home. Taehyung is earning enough. Why do you need to work? You should give your full time to family. YN didn't look up from her laptop. So you want me to quit my job and burden my husband more? Mrs. Kim's eyes widened in fake innocence. Burden? How can you say that? We only want what's best for this house. At that exact moment, Minji strolled in, scrolling on her phone, and Jihoo flopped onto the sofa with his headphones around his neck. Yes, Sil, Minji chimed in sweetly. We all share the same roof. Family supports family. Appa already takes care of everything. What's the harm if you stop working? Isn't that what marriage is about? Jihoo smirked. Yeah, Sil, you're acting like you're the only one carrying responsibility here. We all help Appa. We don't burden him. YN finally closed her laptop, her patience snapping. She leaned back in her chair, her voice cold. Oh, really? You don't burden him? Funny, because from where I'm standing, that's all I see. Minji's smile faltered. What are you trying to say? In's eyes sharpened, her words cutting like a blade. I pay my own bills. I buy for my son. I don't run to Tae for handbags and holidays. Unlike some adults in this house who behave like spoiled children, her gaze flicked to Minji. Then she turned to Jihoo. And you 22 years old, still waiting for Appa's wallet to live your life. At least I can say I stand on my own feet. What about you? The siblings' faces flared red. Mrs. Kim quickly dabbed her eyes with the corner of her shawl. See, this is the disrespect I feared. You married her and now this house has no peace. Your wife humiliates your siblings in front of me. Her voice cracked into a sob. Taehyung, my son, do you see what's happening to your family? Just then, Taehyung walked in, loosening his tie after an early meeting. He froze at the sight, his mother sniffling, Minji and Jihu glaring, YN sitting calm but defiant. What now? Tae muttered, rubbing his forehead as the complaints poured in. She insulted us, Minji snapped. She said we burden you, Jihu added. Your wife doesn't respect family, Mrs. Kim sobbed dramatically. YN just shrugged, her tone razor sharp. I only told the truth. If the truth feels like an insult, maybe you should think about why. Tae closed his eyes, pinching the bridge of his nose. Please, not again. But YN didn't look away. She had nothing to regret. The night was quiet, but the tension in their bedroom was louder than any noise. Taehyung sat on the edge of the bed, head in his hands, while YN changed Taewoo into his pajamas. Their son clung to her shoulder, already half asleep, his small face peaceful despite the storm around him. Once YN tucked Taewoo into bed, she turned to her husband. He still hadn't moved. Tae, she said softly, but firmly. We need to talk. He finally looked up, his eyes heavy. Why do you keep doing this every time? Every time we fight with my family, it's because of your words. YN crossed her arms. No, Tae, it's because of their actions. Don't twist it on me, he stood, frustrated, running his hands through his hair. Can't you just let things go for the sake of peace? They're my family, YN. My parents are old. My siblings are still figuring life out. If you could just be patient. Patient, YN's voice rose. You call this patience? Tae, I've been biting my tongue since the day I married you, watching them suck you dry. Watching you break your back for people who don't even say thank you. And today they crossed the line telling me to quit my job so I can be like them, dependent on you. No, never. YN, Taehyung's voice cracked, almost desperate. They won't change. If you keep fighting, it'll only destroy this house. Please, for me, just stay quiet. Her laugh was bitter, sharp. Stay quiet while they leech off you. Stay quiet while my son watches his father being treated like a wallet. No, Tae, I won't raise Taewoo in a house where his father is respected only for money, not love. Taehyung froze, his chest tightening at her words. In stepped closer, her eyes burning with truth. You think family means sacrifice, but this is slavery. You're their lifeline, not their son. And I refuse to let my child grow up thinking this is normal. For the first time, Taehyung didn't have a reply. He just stood there, torn apart, guilt and love crashing inside him. Taehyung lowered his gaze, his heart breaking at the thought of losing them, but still shackled by the chains of his so-called duty. The room was still heavy after YN's words. Taehyung stood frozen, guilt and conflict written all over his face, while YN turned away, pretending to fix Taewoo's blanket even though her own heart was hurting. She heard him exhale, long and broken. I don't know what to do. YN. His voice was barely a whisper. If I fail them, I'm a bad son. If I fail you, I'm a bad husband. Either way. I lose. That single confession pierced through her anger. YN's shoulders softened. She turned back to see him standing there, head bowed, looking more like a lost boy than the strong manager everyone else saw. Her chest ached. Without saying a word, she walked up to him. He looked up in surprise as she slipped her arms around him, pulling him close. Tae, she murmured against his chest. I'm not your enemy. I'm your wife. I'll always be on your side, even when we fight. But you need to open your eyes before it's too late. His arms tightened around her instantly, like he was holding on for dear life. His face buried in her hair, his breath shaky. I'm scared, YN. If I let them go, what if they hate me? What if I lose them forever? YN pressed her cheek against his chest, her tone soft but steady. And if you don't, you'll lose us, me and Taehyung. Because I won't let our son grow up watching his father be used like this. For a long moment, they stayed like that, two broken hearts holding each other in the middle of a war neither asked for. Taehyung whispered, almost childlike, don't ever leave me. I won't, YN promised, tightening her arms around him. But you'll have to fight for us, Tae, or one day, we'll have nothing left to hold. The next afternoon, YN was called into the director's office. She stepped out 20 minutes later, eyes wide, her hands clutching the letter like it was made of gold. Taehyung, who had just come out of a meeting, spotted her across the corridor. YN, what happened? She looked at him, her lips trembling before they curved into the brightest smile. Tae, I got promoted. His eyes widened. Jinja, not just that. She held up the letter, excitement spilling from her voice. They increased my salary, and they're offering us a small house on the good side of the city. It's part of the package. For a moment, Taehyung just stared at her, stunned. Then the happiness broke through, pure and unfiltered. YN, that's amazing. He stepped forward and swept her into his arms right there in the hallway, ignoring the curious glances from other employees. In laughed into his shoulder, hugging him tightly. Tae, do you realize what this means? A house of our own, no more. This suffocating cycle. Taehyung will have a place where he can just be a child. He pulled back just enough to look at her, his eyes shining. You did this. You worked for it. I'm so proud of you. Her eyes softened, her fingers brushing against his cheek. No, Tae, we did this. Because even when I felt like giving up, you believed in me. He kissed her forehead, smiling in a way he hadn't smiled in months, free, light, almost boyish. YN, for the first time, I feel like there's a way out. A future that's just ours. She leaned into him again, whispering against his chest. Then let's take it, Tae. Let's make a home for us, for Taehyung, away from all this mess. He hugged her tighter, his heart pounding with a mix of relief and hope. For once, it wasn't about his parents' tears or his siblings' demands. It was about him, his wife, and their little boy, and maybe, just maybe, the beginning of their freedom. That evening, YN called her parents. The moment she told them about her promotion and the company house, her mother's face lit up on the video call. Oh God, this is such wonderful news, her mother said, clapping her hands. Her father adjusted his glasses, smiling warmly. You've made us proud, YN. Hard work never goes to waste. Tae, sitting beside YN, smiled too. For once, he saw what real parental pride looked like. No demands, no guilt. Just happiness for their daughter's success. Abba, Emmy, YN said softly, we'll be moving into that house soon. It's not very big, but it's ours. That's all you need, her father replied. A roof built with love, not with pressure. We're happy knowing you'll live peacefully. YN's chest swelled with warmth. Thank you. You've always taught me to stand on my own feet. After the call ended, Tae hugged her lightly. For a moment, everything felt right. But the illusion shattered the next morning at breakfast. So Mrs. Kim began, her voice heavy with emotion. You're really leaving this house, Taehyung? Tae froze, spoon halfway to his mouth. His father coughed, eyes glistening. We're old now, son. We need you. How will we manage without you in this house? Minji gasped dramatically. Appa, you can't just abandon us. How selfish. Jihoon leaned back, scoffing. Yeah, Hyung. Move to your fancy house and leave us all here. Wow, Tae's heart clenched, his mind spinning. It's not about leaving. It's just. In's company offered. You're choosing her over us? Mrs. Kim cut in, her voice trembling with rehearsed pain. Tae looked torn, guilt flooding his face. His earlier excitement dimmed. Maybe we should think about it more. Maybe moving isn't the best idea right now. YN's fork clattered onto her plate. Unbelievable, she muttered, eyes blazing. Minji suddenly perked up. Actually, I have an idea. Why don't we all move there together? It'll be so much fun. A bigger, better house with all of us, she grinned, as if she had solved everything. Minji's smile faltered, Jaehoon scowled, and Mrs. Kim's hand flew to her chest like she'd been struck. YN rolled her eyes. Save the tears, Iamoni. They don't work on me. Then she looked straight at Taehyung, frustration flashing. Tae, you were so happy yesterday. Don't let them steal that from you. Not this time. Taehyung sat in silence, torn between his wife's fire and his family's guilt. His hands gripped the table, knuckles white.